What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's been one hell of a year for Falcom fans, hasn't it? I mean, we got both Proud Nordics and Sky the First this year, along with the Salsetta port, but the less said about that the better. Anyway, this year has been nothing short of amazing for both Falcom and Falcom fans. But would you believe me if I said 2026 is shaping up to be just as crazy? It all comes down to the financial report that Falcom put out, which they do every year. To us fans, this is where we find out about some of the games coming out in the following year. In the past, we've learned about Ys 10, Kai, remasters, ports, and stuff like that. But this time around, the report was both exciting and surprising. First off, the big one. Trails in the Sky the Second is now confirmed for sometime in 2026, likely in September since that's when Falcom typically drops their games. To be honest, this one had me the most surprised. On one hand, most of the assets and things needed for an SC remake were already done because FC got remade, so it's not that surprising that the SC remake is coming out so quickly. Besides, Kondo did say that he didn't want fans to wait too long for the next remake, unlike what happened with the original games. Japanese fans had to wait a year, and overseas fans had an insane 4-year wait between the games. If you know how FC ends, you'll understand how bad of a wait that must have been. On the other hand though, I had a feeling another game would get priority and cause SC to come out in 2027 instead. That game being the sequel to Kai no Kiseki. We don't know what it's actually going to be called, so for now I'll just call it Kai 2. Anyway, in my mind, I thought for sure the release schedule would be Kai 2 and Tokyo Xanadu 2 in 2026, and then Sky SC and Ys 11 in 2027, or something close to that. Trails games usually come out relatively quickly, so it didn't seem too crazy of a thought. But now that doesn't seem to be the case, because Kai 2 wasn't mentioned at all in the report. I'll be honest, it was kinda funny to see some people doom posting about no Kai 2. I can totally understand why that would upset people though. Looking at the release timeline, fans usually don't have to wait very long between games, especially recently going from Reverie to Kai. However, the fact that Kai 2 might not come out next year shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. Kondo already said that from now on, Trails games might take longer to come out. During an interview earlier this year, the topic of the series eventually ending was brought up. Up until now, we've been running on inertia. As we reach the end, we want to take things more slowly. Even if the series ends up reaching 20 interconnected games, you want to take matters seriously. Falcom clearly wants to take their time, not only with Kai 2, but the rest of the series as a whole. From what I understand, the ending of Kai was pretty insane. If they just rush out the next game, they'd end up with another Daybreak 2. That's what I think anyways, I'm not exactly caught up yet. But regardless, it seems like from now on, Trails games will probably have a decent gap between releases. My guess would be around a 2 to 3 year gap, similar to Ys. It sounds reasonable enough to me at least. And since Kai 1 dropped in 2024, it's not too crazy to assume that Kai 2 would be out sometime in 2027. And with that, we already got a decent release timeline going. I mean, the SC remake alone is gonna make 2026 generational. But that might not be the only thing we're getting next year. In a shocking turn of events, during yet another more recent interview, we learned that Tokyo Xanadu 2 is in fact still being worked on, and progress is going surprisingly well. And on top of that, there should be more info coming relatively soon. This all but confirms that we'll learn more about the game in December, likely with a full trailer as well. December is the month Falcom has their annual shareholders meeting. It's similar to the financial report, but instead of just seeing a document that shows what's coming out next year, we get actual announcements, screenshots, and even full trailers if we're lucky. Basically, it's a pretty big deal, and this year is a prime moment for Falcom to finally show off Tokyo Xanadu 2. You gotta remember, the new project was revealed way back in March of 2024, and we've basically gotten no other info on it since then. I'm sure some people didn't mind the wait, considering all the other Falcom games that are coming out, but some people were going through it, as they say. Personally, I'm really excited to finally see proper gameplay of Tokyo Xanadu 2. Falcom has been on a crazy streak recently. Every new game they drop ends up being a huge step forward. East 9 to 10, Daybreak to Kai, and even Kai to Sky the First. You always think it can't get better than this, and then Falcom just pushes past their limits time and time again. Tokyo Xanadu was already a pretty decent game, considering it was made in under a year. With how long the new project has been in the works, I just know that game is gonna change lives. Now, going back to the financial report, there was one more thing in there I want to talk about. The summary of that report was basically, we plan to release Trails in the Sky II, Proud Nordics on PS5, and several other port titles. This is where things could get even more interesting. 2026 already has a banker lineup from the SC remake and potentially Tokyo Xanadu 2. You throw remasters or ports in there and next year might just surpass 2025. There's a lot of games that could get ported next year, but we should start off with the games that are already confirmed. Back in September, seemingly out of nowhere, it was announced that Ys, The Legend of Heroes, and The Legend of Xanadu games are getting current-gen console ports from 2026 to 2027. The currently planned ports are the PC Engine versions of Ys 1 through 4, The Legend of Heroes 1 and 2, and The Legend of Xanadu 1 and 2. This announcement alone is genuinely huge, especially for me, because I've been dying to replay Ys 4. But more importantly, it'll mean more people will get to experience these games. And I mean a lot more, because not only are these games getting ported, it's gonna be a worldwide release as well, meaning we thankfully won't have to wait an extra year just to get these games. However, there's a chance the report wasn't referring to these console ports. If that's the case, what is Falcom cooking? To be honest, I don't know, but that doesn't stop me from guessing. The first thing that comes to mind is, of course, another Ys memoir title. We got Felghana in 2023 and Celceta in 2025. I was gonna say that we'd probably have to wait until 2027 for this, but then I remembered Celceta was literally just a port with an option for worse music, so there's no way it took that long to make. Which means the next memoir game could totally come out next year. That just leaves the question of what game it could be. Personally, I want it to be Ys 7 since I really love that game, but knowing how things went down last time, I don't want to get my hopes up. I think the game that genuinely needs it the most is Ys 6. It's a great game, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason I haven't replayed it as much as the others. It was the first game to use the Arc engine, and once you've played Felghana or Origin, it only gets more noticeable how different 6 feels. If it gets the memoir treatment, I really hope they're able to make the game feel closer to Felghana. That alone would make a remaster worth it in my eyes. On top of that, we'd probably get new illustrations by the Neo Felghana artist. I really like the art style of the other remasters, so I'd be pretty hyped to see what they can do with Ys 6. Aside from Ys though, the other Falcom games I'd want to see ported or even remastered would have to be the Zwei games, Gurman, and maybe even Xanadu next if we're lucky. There's a ton of options, but it all just comes down to what Falcom decides to pick. That about wraps up all the information we got from the financial report. I would have gone more in depth about the recent interviews, but unfortunately I was short on time. Again, those interviews are in the description if you want to read them yourself. Regardless, we've got a lot to look forward to, both in 2026 and beyond. There's truly never been a better time to be a Falcom fan. Anyways, that's all for me. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe and leave a like while you're at it. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.